It's the vibe, and boom, today we're doing a PowerPoint presentation on what it's like to be a starving artist. Now, you know what? Hold up. I was gonna give it a little preamble, a little prelude, but who needs that? What it's like to be a starving artist. Spoiler, it sucks. I'll be your lecturer for today, Professor Vibe. You can call me TV for short, but that's what the cool students call me, TV. You can call me Professor the Vibe. Boom. Who am I? What? Now, the real question here. What qualifies moi to be the person to give this dissertation, to be the person to give this lecture? Well, there's a few reasons why I'm qualified for this, okay? Boom. 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 Okay, so first of all, as an artist, here are some things that I've done. Really cool gothic song. I made it all, produced it, mixed it, wrote it. Okay, this video, I directed it, I shot it, I hired the talent, I edited it. I did basically everything you see for this. And along the same lines, something similar, a little love song I made for Doja Cat. Same vibe, okay? Wrote, recorded, mixed it, mastered it, engineered. Actually, it's where I got. It's the origination, actually, of my Doja Cat body pillar. Now, you might see this and be like, this isn't art, this is just insanity. And I would argue, as I will in the later of this presentation, that there's kind of not that much of a difference. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, thanks for stopping by, Doja Cat. I promise I'm not a weirdo. Now, I think I've proven to you that at the very least I have some degree of artistic capacity. Now let's address the starving part. This is a screenshot of my bank account from approximately 34 hours ago. Yeah, okay. Now that you know a little bit more about me, your lecturer, Mr. The Vibe, Professor Vibe, maybe you're asking this question now that we're into this so far. And the question may be, how/why would you even become a starving artist? How does that even happen? I mean, what are you doing, dummy? Get a job. You could be a tech guy. You could be a finance person. You could work as a chef. You could do anything. Get a job. It's actually quite simple. There's no free will, and you're cursed by the gods of old and new with an obsessive compulsion to create things that are fundamentally useless. It's the vibe. The rest of this presentation, we're going to get into the main meat of this discussion. For example, what's it actually like to be a starving artist? I mean, what does the day-to-day look like? What are you spending your time and energy doing? How do you survive? There's so many questions that need to be answered. As a starving artist, I can answer them. That's why I'm here. That's why I made this present. The 3 major dilemmas for every starving artist. The first dilemma for a starving artist is quality of life. We're going to break down quality of life in the rest of this presentation. The second dilemma is sacrifice. Third dilemma is mental health. We're also going to break down mental health in this presentation. And then at the very end, we're going to sum it all up with the conclusion. Like, is being a starving artist even worth it? Nani desu ka? Who knows? If you enjoyed this presentation at any point, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Because if you leave a like and subscribe, you'll have a lot more the vibe in your life. And who doesn't want more of the vibe in their life? Quality of life. What's the quality of life look like for a starving artist? Well, there's a few things that go into quality of life, such as money and resources. Okay, so as a starving artist, you are in fact starving. I'll be making a YouTube video on explicitly how I make money as a starving artist. But as a starving artist, you're fundamentally always broke. And that's because the thing that you spend your time on doesn't make any money. At least not at the moment. It's actually excruciatingly painful. As a starting artist, you now have a dilemma. The dilemma is make the art or go get money and then make worse art and put less of your time and life energy into the thing that you love to do. If you're a starving artist, you've likely chosen to put all your time and energy and money into art. So actually, you're generally operating at a loss. So you're either drowning in debt or you always have no money because all your money goes to your art. I mean, who has enough expense? Who has enough money to pay for art supplies or studio time or a team to help shoot your film? You know what I mean? It's so much money involved in terms of making art, and you don't really start making anything back for a while. So a starving artist is generally always broke. And if we go back to that picture of my bank account, I think we can agree that that's generally the case. Also, as a starving artist, you fundamentally don't really have any resources. Like, the reason you're starving is because you're doing something that you can only really figure out if you're connected or have resources or have some sort of like way to survive with that thing. If you're a starving artist, you probably don't have connections or resources, or you're not really getting lucky. It's unlikely that you're getting enough resources to really survive to begin with. Next aspect of being a starving artist is health. Health is really important, and as a starving artist, your health is probably bad. Oh my gosh, I got a Tinder notification. Somebody loves me. You see, a starving artist is usually in a difficult life circumstance, holistically, because they don't have money, and they probably don't have a good job, if any job. They likely don't have any health care. And so what a starving artist generally does when it comes to health is ignore it. I'm in so much pain all the time. A starving artist generally has to ignore their health until they have something coming in that allows them to address it. That is one of the curses of being a starving artist. Probably not going to be able to afford or eat the best foods consistently, and you probably don't have health care to address basic needs. Generally, your health is going to be in a bad place and it's in continual decline, and you're taking a bet that one day you'll make enough money from the art that you're making and your health will be in enough tact that you're going to be able to not suffer all the time. Okay, relationships. Relationships as a starving artist is actually kind of good. I think it's like dependent on who you are. There's a couple generalities though. For example, me, I'm someone whose life has been stoked in loneliness, and so relationships have been hard, but even as that, I've been able to form good relationships and find communities as a starving artist. What's cool about relationships is that it's probably going to be the only highlight of your quality of life. Maybe you and some friends are a group of starving artists together. Or maybe you're a starving artist, but you still have a good community and social circle that you can engage with. Relationships are one of the things that keep most starving artists from blowing their brains out. And so it's really one of the highlights of our lives, and as a starving artist, you really gotta value relationships. And I'm not even talking about it as in an artistic sense. I'm talking about relationships in general. Just to have a friend or someone to talk to is really nice. Even though that's the case, there's still some problems in your relationship life as a starving artist. For example, negative money is not very attractive for dating. Also, as a starving artist, it's likely that you spend a lot of your time alone in your room working on art. This can make it really difficult to expand and create new relationships and put yourself out there. So there are some innate limitations in the relationship domain of being a starving artist. But overall, it's one of the best aspects of being a starving artist. You can kind of nurture and craft relationships as they are. So, if you ever decide to become a starving artist, at least you can have decent relationships. Last but not least, in the quality of life section of what it's like to be a starving artist, it's circumstances. Circumstances is kind of like the big picture tie-in web of all the other three aspects coming together. It's kind of just a general description of what life is like as a starving artist. And usually, it's miserable. That's all I can say. Your circumstances as a starving artist is generally kind of miserable. A lot of it is, we're gonna get to this in like the next sections, especially the mental health section, but a lot of it is convincing yourself that you have a shot, when realistically you don't. So as a starving artist, you kind of just always have to lie to yourself about how things are. And because you're a super creative person, it's actually pretty easy to just lie to yourself about the fundamental aspects about the fundamental circumstance of your reality. Please support me on Patreon. Please. Please. And here's some like cute little pictures that visualize it. That's Basquiat. People like him a lot. I don't know who these guys are, but I just like to pretend they're the Beatles. The picture looks cool. And then here's a person who's on the street making art, trying to survive. A starving artist, as can be said. The next area of the starving artist's life is sacrifice. So here are the three main aspects of sacrifice in the life of a starving artist. There's a nice little picture of sacrifice. Maybe it's a little Jesus-esque crown of thorns, your ego, a cool car, someone smoking a little bits right here. A lot of pictures. So time, energy, and commitment. We're gonna brush through these all really quickly because I think you understand sacrifice. It's not exclusive to being a starving artist. I think everyone knows sacrifice just a little bit. So time, as a starving artist, you have to literally give every moment of your existence to your craft. Otherwise, you actually have no shot. Like it's like you're actually screwed if you don't give all your time to this. And it's not just a little time like weeks or months, it's years, decades even. For example, me, I've been working at this for about 15 years and I'm broke. But I still believe, you know, you really don't know how long it's gonna take. So a lot of the aspect of being a starving artist is seeing how long you can go before you can't anymore. And that you can't part, that could mean a lot of things. It just depends on who you are. But the real game is how long can you survive? That's the game of being a starving artist. And for that, you kind of have to sacrifice all the other things you care about so that you can give yourself the best chance in the world of making this work. Every minute of every day. Now, maybe that's a little neurotic and maybe that's just me, but the general idea here is most of your life is gonna have to be focused on this thing. Every thought you have in one way is gonna connect back to your art or your dreams that you have for your art. And so the time that you have is always spent ideating and learning and creating and trying to give yourself a better shot at life. Energy is along the same lines of time. You basically only have a finite amount of energy in your life as a human being.
I mean, honestly, who has the time and energy to care these days?
Help. As a starving artist, you really got to figure out how to focus your energy towards your craft or towards how to monetize your craft. It gets really difficult because you start to think to yourself, am I just wasting all my time and energy on something that'll never work? And that's the constant dilemma of the starving artist. But because we're really, really delusional, and we're going to get into that in the next section, because of our extreme delusionality, we can convince ourselves that if we keep going, we still have a chance. It's kind of sad. And lastly, it's commitment. When you're a starving artist, you're kind of all in. I mean, there's nothing else you could do. If you're gonna do the artist thing, you gotta do it. You can't starve a little today and then eat a little tomorrow. You just gotta go ahead first and dive deep into it. You know what I mean? As a result of all three of these things, time, energy, and commitment, generally being attributed to something that's bringing you absolutely nothing back in return, you kind of are just always in a state of distress. Oh my gosh, is it ever gonna work? That's generally the motif of every starving artist. It's just screaming into the void. But you keep going. Mental health is going to be our final core component of being a starving artist. As you can see, we have Yuji Itadori on screen right now, going ballistic, going crazy, going a little loco. Yuji Itadori going a little loco. So here are the sections of mental health for a starving artist. First of all, it's doubt. You look at people who are kind of bad at what they do and they're winning beyond belief. It really makes you doubt if anything will ever work out for you, if it was meant for you, if you're just wasting your time. You know, there's so much doubt in being a starving artist because if things aren't working out for you and you look around and everyone else, or at the very least other people, have it working out for them, all you can ask yourself, is it me? Am I the problem? Should I just give up now? Should I just quit while I'm behind? And so you're always in a constant doubt debate with yourself. Whether it's worth it, or you're good enough, or you're the problem, or if there's anything else you can do, you're in a constant state of mental fright. Comparison. This kind of ties in with doubt a little bit. But when you get people online who say, yeah, man, I've been working really hard at this for 6 months, it makes you really want to scream a little bit or a lot of bit. That it seems as though other people can just find success in the thing a lot easier and faster than you. It makes you want to scream. Remember that and that's what everything feels like. It's really hard to not compare yourself as a starving artist because you're in a constant state of distress, and so you look around for some sort of reinforcement. And when that reinforcement is 17-year-old kid who did the thing once and now is just super successful, it just makes you wanna laugh. Next part about being a starving artist and your mental health is risk. Life in general is about risk management, but as a starving artist, you're delusional, so you put all your eggs in one basket, and that basket is yourself and your dreams and the belief that you can make that thing that you imagine a reality. Now, the funny part is, it's actually beyond your control if you can make it real. So you just take the shot every time and hope something good comes of it. The issue with risk is, as a starving artist, you likely don't have any good safety net. So if you do end up on the street homeless, that's just where you are now. Can you tell how much pain I'm in? Can you tell? Boom. Stress is, all of these things kind of compound onto each other. But as stress comes in as a starving artist, as time goes on, because at the beginning, you can recognize that sometimes things take time, but the longer it takes, the more years that go by without you finding any real success, and the more you double down onto your dreams because you're a delusional artist, the more stress you start taking on. You start thinking, what do I have to do? Do I have to do this and that too? I'll do whatever it takes. What do I have to do? And then all of a sudden you're juggling 1,000 things and none of them is making any circumstance any better. But you know that you've gone all in on this, and so you gambler's fallacy it and you think to yourself and say, if I just keep going, something's gotta work. And the more it doesn't, the more your body reacts in a anxiety-induced tensive way, and so you start getting really stressed about everything, and your mental state starts to decline a little bit every single time from every one of these things, with a little bit of doubt and a little bit of comparison and a little bit of risk and a little bit of stress, and then you do risk again because I put it twice. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It was an accident. Delusion and confusion, this is a force to be reckoned with. This is a double-edged sword as an artist, let alone as a starving artist, because this is what keeps you in the game, but also this is what keeps you in the game. You're delusional, so you think no matter how bad it gets and no matter how much you have lost and failed, if you get back up and keep going, it'll work out. But also, you get back up and then you just keep going, and it doesn't work out. A lot of being a starving artist is actually just being a gambler. You're just gambling with life. I could have just called this the artist gambling guide or something, because that's all it really is. Okay, you're a little delusional here. You think it's possible. You think it'll happen, so yeah, go for it. And then you're confused because nothing works, but you show up every time, and so you think to yourself, "What's going on? What's even going on?" So there's a mix of all of these things that come together: a little bit of doubt, a little bit of comparison, a little bit of risk, some stress, maybe a little more risk, and then some delusion and confusion. And all of those come together to form the life of a starving artist. And now here's the thing, okay? Before we get into my conclusive... hold on, let me readjust the screen a little bit. Before we get into my conclusive discussion on being a starving artist, actually, there's nothing else to be said. Is it worth it? Is being a starving artist worth it? Some might say no. Some might say yes, but nobody's actually saying yes, because the answer is it's not worth it at all. It's miserable. But if you go back to the beginning of the presentation, it's not really a choice, okay? I'm sorry to break it to you. The starving artist doesn't choose to be a starving artist. They're compelled to it by forces outside of their own control. It's circumstantial curse, baby. I gotta be honest with you. And that's not to say that nobody should be a starving artist, because I'm a starving artist, and that means that people are starving artists. Does that make sense? So, for who, right? For who is... Hold on. I can't zoom in on this. I thought I could zoom in. So, for who is being a starving artist truly worthwhile for? Well, I think you gotta have a few qualities to be a starving artist, okay? First, you gotta have a little bit of grit to you, okay? If you're a pretty pampered princess, I don't think being a starving artist is gonna work for you. There's too much struggle. There's too much grind, kid. There's too much uncomfortability, kid. You need a high pain threshold to be a starving artist. Next, you also have to have a high degree of delusion, because the game, I think we mentioned this before, the real game of a starving artist, it's a game of survival. How long can you stay in the ring, boxing, bam, bing, ducking the universe, getting a stray left hook? Can you get back up? Okay? Are you someone who can go through, in essence, a long period of hell and not really quickly, right? Or give up really quickly, okay? Lastly, who would be fit to be a starving artist is someone who's unbelievably ambitious. And now here's why. One of the real reasons you're a starving artist is because you believe that on the backside of that, on the other side of that fence, there's a reality, there's an experience of life, there's a lifestyle that's worthwhile of your suffering. right? You have an imaginative, delusional belief that there's something over there that's really awesome and you'll love it and it is worth the pain and struggle. And for that, you need to be someone who thinks a little ambitiously, thinks a little big, and then with the mix of that delusion and a mix of that grit, you tackle the world. You go for it with all you got, kid. Even when you're homeless and hungry and tired and struggling and nothing's working for you and net spend is getting all the bad bitches. And that is what it means to be a starving artist. It means you keep going in the face of uncertainty. It means that you choose to be the anomaly that the statistics can't account for. It means you believe in your dream so hard that you'll put decades of time and energy into fighting for something that seems so far away yet close at the same time. To be a starving artist is a gift as much as it is a curse, because you are I don't know. That's as much as I had. Honestly, I was trying to spin this into a motivational thing. I don't know if I got that in me right now, but here's what I do got in me. If I'm in it and you're in it and we're in this together, let's do it together. That's all I had to say. That's been my dissertation on what it's like to be a starving artist. It's the vibes. Subscribe, and in the next video, I'm going to explain to you how I earn money as a starving artist.